This video is in memory of Zac Bertschy. I met Zac in the late 2000s through friends when I was actively writing about Japanese animation, and I wanted to say a few words in his honor. I'm not going to act like Zac and I were blood brothers or anything, but he did have a place in my life, and we definitely spent time together and got friendlier as the years passed. To be 100% honest, at first we both seemed to vaguely dislike one another for the same petty, dumb reasons internet geeks would dislike one another. But then we were on a panel at Anime Los Angeles and we had a good time and had some pleasant exchanges, and that was really cool. Here and there over the years, I'd run into Zac at industry events and the like, and it was always cool to catch up with him. Later, I ended up doing some work for A&N and I enjoyed it. To my surprise, Zac did too, and we kept in touch. Eventually, we'd all go out for big meals and karaoke parties, and honestly, I was incredibly surprised. I'm really unsure of how to say this, but just hear me out. Zac was way more fun than I'd ever thought he could be during these things. I knew he was an interesting guy, I liked talking to him, but it was like he was a charisma machine on two legs. Everybody just loved him, and he was a blast to be around. I remember him turning to me one night and complimenting my girlfriend, this bright gleam in his eye, and he just goes, "She's cool, man." He was so happy. Here's the part that's important for those of you who didn't know Zac. People change. Things change too. What's happening on one day can affect what happens tomorrow or the day after, but it doesn't have to. A lot of this stuff is relational. So what helps? What do you do? Be aware, be present, pay attention to yourself and how you feel in your surroundings. Take stock of yourself, take stock of others, check in. Part of why I'm personally bummed out right now is because I was always like, damn, I need to holler at that kid, I wonder how he's doing. And honestly, that kind of thing is important. It's hard to feel disconnected in this world, and we're often in places where we are disconnected. And people may not be there after some time passes. And again, this is more abstract in terms of discussing life and time passing, but we owe it to each other to take care of ourselves and to reach out to people and to make the effort just to know we give a damn about one another. I bring all this up because, yeah, Zac had his grumpy moments, but in an industry filled with people who burn out and become sick and tired of reviewing 50 shows a season, there was nothing more charming and heartwarming than an enthusiastic and excited Zac Bertschy. I'll remember a lot about Zac. I'll remember that he was a sweet, caring, yet complicated guy with a deep knowledge of media and a great yet often sharp sense of humor. And yes, he cut me once or twice, and I deserved it. But what I'll remember most is that he cared, even when he didn't have to. The last time I saw Zac, he came over to my girlfriend's house, and we recorded a podcast about writing, art, media, life, creativity, and balancing everything. It was a legitimately amazing discussion and a great time. I remember we both had a feeling of, oh wow, this is really fun, written on our faces. We talked until the sun went down, literally sitting outside in the dark riffing on sci-fi and whatever have you. I'll never forget how warm, friendly, funny, and relaxed he was that night, or his 1,000-mile-wide smile. That was the last time I saw him, and that's how I still think of him. You may wonder why I'm all bent out of shape about a dude that wrote about comics or films or cartoons or video games. But this was somebody I did consider a friend, first off. And more importantly, this was bigger than that for Zac. And at the same time, he'd be the first person to not portray it all as some kind of big deal or master plan. That stuff let him engage with the world, and he loved it. Hell, even when he didn't, he did, if you know what I mean. I only wish I was as passionate about the things I loved as he was about Disneyland or late-night fun streams or whatever. I mean, I've been sucking wind trying to write this memorial for 2 days, just drained. At a time like this, somebody like Zac, who could definitely edit and could definitely manage, could really give me the advice I need to finish strong. And that kind of thing is all too rare in a figure everything out for yourself world of DIY media production. Which, in its own way, makes this all the more upsetting. Zac was a talented guy. He knew his stuff, and he knew how to help people get better at their stuff too. I really need to dig our podcast discussion out of the media files and post it up, because it was something special and it was cool and fun. I don't have a lot of those kinds of conversations these days, and I've come to realize they're making fewer and fewer of the us model. So this week's been tough, and it's been tough for a lot of folks. But I'm really hoping there's some inspiration to be found here despite how tough this has all been. Zac touched a lot of people's lives. It's been wonderful to see so many people catch up with one another and to exchange pleasantries and talk about him. I just wish it wasn't under these circumstances. I know Zac appreciated people listening to his thoughts, and I know he appreciated and loved his friends, who are so numerous that I'm too nervous to even begin to list them for fear of leaving somebody out. But you know who you are, and as somebody who considered himself to be one of them, I have to say, I'm going to miss you, Zac. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves, be safe, and be kind to one another.